Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Kunja Bihari. Shri Radha Madhava ki Jai. It's, let me just, it's okay. You don't need to swipe anything. I swoop already. We have a large following today. All these pure Vaishnavas. No, just put in the middle there. Video. So we are going today to continuation of the today's speech about meditation on the transcendental form of the Lord. So we will speak about the beginning. Just one side note. The Srila Prabhupada many times stressed that Krishna is not impersonal, that he has a form. And this is very important. So much so that Srila Prabhupada never wrote International Society for God Consciousness, but for Krishna consciousness. Because God can sometimes be impersonal. Concept of God can be impersonal. And Srila Prabhupada also many times mentioned Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. To mean that he's a person. He's a personality of Godhead. So then Prabhupada says, either by hearing, when we hear, or by seeing or meditating, the objective is transcendental form of the Lord. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we don't think about Krishna as energy, or when we hear about Krishna, we always think Krishna as a form. So although when we chant Hare Krishna, there's no really Krishna there. It's just some sound. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. But actually this sound is not different from Krishna. This is Prabhupada always emphasized. This is very important. There's one verse, prayer. Prabhupada quotes this prayer before boy Shri Krishna. When prayed before boy Krishna, young boy Krishna. They say that all these great devotees, this is Lord Brahma was praying. You know, when Brahma kidnapped friends, and then he returned them after apparently 1 year, 1 hour year, his 1 second or 1 moment. So he returned them and he prayed. And he said, there is no end to the limit to the fortune of residents of Rajabhumi, headed by Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, because the eternal absolute truth became their intimate relative. So he wanted to praise this. Actually, all these devotees who we speak about, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, and the residents of Rajabhumi, Vrindavan, we sing Yashoda Nandana, Brajajana Ranjana. It's very dear to all the residents of Vrindavan because they see him every day. And in such an intimate fashion, such an intimate relationship. Because in the village, people are not so official, People are more like, everybody knows everybody. And there's all more like, everybody's your relative, more or less the whole village is your relative. So Krishna is their own, one of them. So this is a great, great fortune to have a form of the absolute truth, Krishna, play in your courtyard. This is like an amazing thing. So this is just, the Brahman, actually Prabhupada says, is never impersonal. Although they say the Brahman is impersonal, according to our philosophy, Achintya Veda Veda Tattva, Brahman or Krishna or God is never impersonal. One of his aspects is impersonal. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. So Brahman is an impersonal aspect, but he himself is not an impersonal. This is just introduction, or a side note that we know that Krishna is never assumes this, because sometimes people think that Krishna is impersonal, but this is not so. So this is just this. Another thing here important is Krishna in the fifth canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 525.10, there's a reason explaining why Krishna appears in these various forms. Because Krishna appears in many, many, many forms. Ramadi Murti Shukalanyamena. The Krishna appeared in so many different forms. It is said that Krishna is the original candle, and all different forms are the, lighting from the original candle, you light other candles. So there are also candles, but just Krishna is the original candle. And we know Krishna has 64 qualities, 4 qualities more than other avatars, but they're all original Krishna. They're all Krishna, they're all Godhead. There's no difference. In the absolute world, Prabhupada says there is no difference. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that we grade these levels like different rasas just for the sake of comparison, for the sake of understanding. But there is no such a thing as better Krishna, lower Krishna, better quality Krishna. We want to buy a good quality jacket, and lower quality jacket I don't buy because it's lower quality. So in the material world, we all want to have the best quality. And in India also said best quality. Hare Krishna. This is best Übersetzung. So the best quality, there's no such a thing. Everything is best quality for Krishna. So Krishna is the reason why he appears in all different forms. Murtimna puru kripaya bhavara sattvam samshudam sad asad idam vibhati tatra yalilam mriga patirdada denavyadam adatum svagyaya mamamsi udara virya. So 3 particular words in Sanskrit is puru kripaya, which means because of his mercy. Kripaya. So Krishna appears out of his mercy. Adatum. Adatum means to conquer. And the last word is svagyaya manamsi, the minds of his devotees. So Krishna appeared in all these forms because of the great mercy, number 1. And number 2, to conquer the devotees' minds. So this is the reason why Krishna appears in all these forms. And because we all have naturally ingrained in us desire for varieties. So this nirvishesha does not cut. There is no such a thing as oneness. Everything is so much varieties in this material world. And everybody has a different taste. All of us who are sitting here in this room, any of us have the same clothes? Do you have same clothes as her? No. You have a blue jacket, sport jacket. She has a knitted sweater. You have this. He has the orange. We all have. Why do we have this? Of course we have. I don't have much hair, but you all have different haircuts. Everything is different because this is how we like it. When we put spices, when we cook, some people like more. I like more. Whatever. This spice. I like chilies. I love chilies, and some people don't like chilies. So we all have different tastes. So in the same way, we have a different taste to the varieties of Krishna. So Krishna appears in so many, many wonderful forms, wonderful, wonderful forms. So we become attracted to one particular form, and this form is the best for us. There is no better form for us. So therefore, Krishna, out of his great mercy, appears to conquer our minds, so that our minds is satisfied. Because we know, chanchala himana Krishna. The mind is like a very chanchala, very unsteady minds. So I want this, I want any change. Oh, I actually don't like this. I actually like this. We order something. Oh, I shouldn't have ordered it. Conquer it. Cancel it immediately. The minds are never satisfied. So if your mind is fully satisfied, that must be Krishna. And this is why Krishna appears as all these wonderful, wonderful forms. And once we achieve Krishna in the form we like, our minds also means our hearts, nothing can change it. Nothing can change it. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is described that Lord Chaitanya was speaking to various devotees, to Murari Gupta. He said, you are a great devotee of Lord Ram, but I advise you to worship Krishna, Vrajendra Nandan, in Vrindavan with Radha. And then came next day, because Murari was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, he would do anything for Lord Chaitanya. So next day, Lord Chaitanya came to Murari and he said, so Murari, how is your worship of Lord Krishna? And Murari said, I could not sleep all night. He said, why? I could not sleep because I cannot give up, how do you say, Raghunath is in my heart. So Lord Chaitanya said, you are the authorized to worship Lord Rama. And then he quoted this famous utterance of Lord Rama who says, blessed is the Lord who never leaves his follower, and blessed is the follower who never is... No, blessed is the servant who never leaves his master. So this is not artificial. This is matter of the heart. So when we, again, come to the particular point that we like this particular form of Krishna Balaram, for example, this is it. There's no... Somebody can say, but Radha and Krishna is higher. Thank you. I appreciate very much. It's just like, for example, anybody from East Europe? No. I like this one particular food called banica. You know banica? No. It's like very nice. If somebody can offer me pizza, say, well, pizza is nice, but banica is better. Sorry. But some other people say, well, pizza is the best, Or somebody from India said, no, rice, whatever, pulao, this is the, whatever people like. In South India, they like rice. Everything is rice, rice. But in North India, no rice. Puri, roti. So everything is roti. Chapati and roti. Roti means this bread. Everything is bread, wheat. So different tastes, So therefore, we should, as devotees or as aspiring, we should learn about different forms and pray to different forms of Krishna, and Krishna will reveal to us, or Krishna will naturally make us attracted to this particular form. In our sampradaya, every school has a different deity, like a Ishta Devata called Ishta Devata, the worshipable deity. There's a one deity they worship, each sampradaya. Our sampradaya, we worship Radha and Krishna. This is our ultimate deity. I was speaking this morning, there's a baby Krishna. Some sampradaya, like Vallabha sampradaya, this is their Ishta Devata, baby Krishna. This is their meditation. This is their highest object of worship. In South India, we have a Venkateshwara, Vishnu, which is just in Pune, this beautiful Venkateshwara, Balaji, deity, upstairs, Very nice. Some people, this is their highest deity, and that's it. So, this is the one point. Another thing, very, very interesting thing, is we have in this world, we have a material bodies. There's, as Prabhupada says, that this kappa, pitta, vata, these three dhatus. And now body is made of this, according to Ayurveda, called dravyas. Dravya is substances, water. Yeah, elements. So there's a water. So all these things were floating, when we are sick and we are schnupfen, this is all this water element. Then we have a bhumi, rapo, and alavayu. We have all this earth element, all this is skin, bones, this is all earth. Then we have fire of digestion. Without fire of digestion, nothing can be digested. There are people, devotees, I know, they eat like a little, I cannot digest it. There's no fire of digestion. So they have to eat, I don't know, black pepper or whatever, to this hajmola, hajmola. Hajmola, to make it a better digestion. So because the fire, there's no fire. But there's a fire in us. Sometimes we have a fever. So where is the fever coming from? From the fire. And the air, there's so many different airs. We know what kind of airs we have. We inhale and, outgoing airs also. So all this is elements made, our body is made of these elements. But as I said earlier today, the Krishna's body is transcendental. It's completely different. His skin, his organs are all transcendental. So it's all one spiritual energy. So basically, whatever we do, we know the material body, whatever we do with the material body, we get reactions to it. So therefore, we have all these different bodies. We are born in with different bodies because due to our karmas. So what is the good at looking at Krishna's form is that by looking at Krishna's form, we also get a spiritual form, which is interesting enough. So by looking at Krishna, our body becomes, first of all, purified to enough that we can see more and more. At the end, we can actually obtain in the next body a spiritual body, just by looking at Krishna's form. So looking at Krishna's spiritual form, we become spiritual ourselves. So this is also a nice meditation. When you look at Krishna, looking at Nrsimhadev, we think, wow, very soon I will also hopefully join in your transcendental pastimes in Vaikuntha. Prabhupada says, a spiritual form like the Lord's, either two-handed or four-handed, is attained by the devotees of the Lord, either in Vaikunthas or in Goloka, according to the original nature of the soul. So the more we get purified, the more we realize what is our original position. Am I devotee of Radha and Krishna, or am I devotee of, Krishna Balaram, or whatever my, am I a grass in the spiritual world, or am I a water? There was the one devotee, before that I never thought about this, that you can actually become a water in the spiritual world. And this is also pure devotional service, ecstatic. Because we think water is, some stream there. But this devotee was dreaming, in his dream, that he became a stream. And he said he was going through this, riverbeds, how a stream goes. And he was thinking, Krishna is coming to the forest. And he became more ecstatic. He said his hair, water hair, stood on end somehow or other, Water also must have some kind of hair. So he was so ecstatic, and he said he was jumping out of this, in ecstasy. That he was thinking, if Krishna will come just one closer, I can touch his feet. And I'd never thought about, we think about gopis. We all want to be gopis, the highest. But to be extreme in Goloka Vrindavan is very ecstatic. To be a tree. And in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam description, when Krishna Balaram, this is the pastimes when Krishna Balaram is killing Dhenukasura. Krishna Balaram killing the donkeys, ezel, demons. So when they're entering the forest, Krishna was seeing all these trees. He said, my dear Balaram, look at this. All these trees are bowing down to offer obeisance to you. All these trees like closer to Balaram's feet. So all this is a spiritual form according to our soul. According to our, as Prabhupada says here, nature of the soul. So, for example, Prabhupada also gives example, by looking at Krishna's form, we actually get a spiritual form. And Prabhupada gives the example on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all these soldiers who died, they actually attained the spiritual forms. Prabhupada says here. He said, the form which is 10% spiritual, Krishna's form, is the svarupa of the living being, or the spiritual soul. And all living beings who participated on the battlefield of Kurukshetra on both sides attained their svarupa as confirmed by Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev confirmed all these soldiers who died on this side or that side, doesn't matter ultimately, because this is all material. Everything in the material world is just a temporary and ultimately not important. As Srila Prabhupada says in this humorous example, there's the wet stool, cow dung, and dry cow dung. And they are looking at each other. And the wet cow dung said, look at yourself, you're dry. I am still full of juice and elements. But little they know, soon he will be also dry. Meaning in the material world, everybody will ultimately come to the same end, death. So in the same way here, all the soldiers who died in Kurukshetra, they actually attained spiritual forms. Just by looking, the reason is because they saw Krishna on the battlefield. So if we happen to somehow see Krishna while we are dying, it's very, very good for us. So Prabhupada said, so the Krishna was not only merciful to the Pandavas, because sometimes we think, Krishna is biased, Samoham sarabhutashu. What is it? People say I'm a partial, but I'm actually not partial. Of course, he's favoring his devotees, of course. As I said this morning, he stepped on a chariot so Arjuna can survive, and so many other things. But in reality, he's also merciful to the others, too, at the same time. Even the demons, Krishna is greatly merciful to them. When he kills them, he's a great mercy to be touched by the form of Krishna. It's amazing. Or by Sudarshan Chakra. He's a transcendental devotee of Krishna. There was this story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita when this Shivananda Sena was organizing tour from Bengal to Puri from devotees, and he would pay the fare across the rivers and all these things. He would arrange. He was just arrange all it. He was like a tour leader. And once they came to some place, there was no food. And Lord Nityananda being quite angry. And he said, what is this? Where is the food? We are walking so long. You are organizing. What kind of organizer you are? And he kicked Shivananda Sena in the chest. Everybody's like, oh my God. And the Shivananda Sena started dancing. Wow, I was kicked by Lord. I was touched by the lotus foot of Lord Nityananda. This is the greatest. There is no greater mercy than this. So from the external point, it may appear sometimes the Krishna is not favorable, but Krishna is actually favorable to everybody. To everybody. As I said again, just go to Google and punch Krishna shop or Krishna juice. There was in Ahmedabad, across the street of the temple, there was a Radha juice stand. So we always went to buy some vegetables fruit in a Radha juice stand. So Krishna is merciful. Radha juice stand. People don't know, but they see, Radha juice stand. So Krishna is very, very merciful. What is this now? This is I don't want it. Security started. No, I don't want. So, this darshan of Krishna comes again only by Krishna's allowance. We cannot demand darshan of Krishna. okay, I want to see Nrsimhadev. We think, I'm entitled. I'm living here. I'm entitled. As you see, now Nrsimhadev may be closing the door, and that's it. We cannot demand darshan. I was once in one temple, and one Indian gentleman came in. The darshan, the deities were closed, and he said, open the curtains, I want to see the Krishna. I said, well, it doesn't work that way, You have to actually, offer prayers. First of all, you have to come in proper times. The Krishna opens when he wants it. Maybe he's resting, maybe he's eating. You cannot demand to see Krishna. Actually, it's our great mercy from Krishna that he can actually allow us to see his form. So, Krishna, in first canto, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 9th chapter, 22nd verse, it says, despite of being equally kind to everyone, Krishna has graciously come before me, this is Bhishma is laying on the bed of arrows, while I am ending my life, for I am his unflinching servant. So this is when we are becoming unflinching means unwavering. Jaya Nrsimhadev Prahlad Maharaj. When you have you can take the candle now and put it outside, it's wavering, the light is wavering because of the wind. So unwavering means not moving. I'm the servant of Krishna, that's it. Not that sometimes I'm a servant, sometimes I'm not. I'm always servant. So this is unflinching devotional service. And that's why Bhishma said, that is why Krishna came in front of me. This is the reason. Although he is kind to everyone, but he doesn't come to somebody in front of their face, as a darshan on your last moment. I didn't participate in death of few devotees. I was witnessing the death of few devotees. 2 devotees, particularly in Vrindavan. And both these devotees, they were, very unflinching devotees, unflinching devotional service. Book distribution for many years. And they both say, one of them said he saw Radharani at the end of his life. She came. And the other devotee was very, very dedicated to service to Gaunitai, to the last moment. Just Gaunitai, nothing else. No Radha Krishna, no Nrsimhadev, just Gaunitai. He had a picture of Gaunitai, and he died in front of the picture of Gaunitai. So Krishna is present, as they say here, Bhishma Dev, only because of this unflinching devotional service. So we have to expect that if we want to see Krishna now or at the end of our life, we have to be unflinching devotees. Then we can expect Krishna to come. Queen Kunti said in the Bhagavatam, since we are speaking about Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that Krishna is beyond the range of limited sense perception, that we cannot see Krishna. Although Krishna is everywhere, present all the time, we cannot see him. This is amazing. Beyond the range of limited sense perception, because sense perception is limited. We cannot see right now what's going on behind this wall. We cannot. We can, but we cannot see it. So, therefore, Krishna is beyond this view of ours, and he's covered, as much as we have a wall here, Krishna is covered with the wall of illusory energy of Maya, deluding material energy, and therefore we cannot see things as they are. This is in reality Maya. Maya means, as Prabhupada translated, that which is not. That which is not. So we see something, but this is not real thing. So this is called deluding energy of Maya. But we are convinced that this is true. And sometimes we know ourselves. We are convinced, but it's actually proved to be not true. Especially if you walk in the forest in the night, because forest is all different kinds of forms, the stumps of the trees, and then you think, oh, there's an animal there, but it's actually not. Evening time, the dusk. And also there's a famous example of Shankaracharya. This is so-called Vivartavada, the illusion that we think in the night, when we see a rope hanging from a tree, we think it's a snake. But once the sun comes up, we see it's actually not. So this is this Vivarta, illusion, delusion. So Krishna, somehow by this material energy, is deluding us that we cannot see Krishna. This is what Queen Kunti says. You are invisible to the foolish observer exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. So Krishna is actually all present everywhere, all the time. And even when Krishna is present, was present, the people cannot see that he is God. We see so many examples, particularly, in the Mahabharata, that not many recognize that he is God, actually. When Krishna came for the last moment of, before the battle of Kurukshetra started, and Krishna went for the last, give a peace a chance, as they say this song, give peace a chance. So he went to the Duryodhana and the others, Dhritarashtra, and said, we should not fight, we are brothers, we are family, and this and that. And so they, Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what did they do? They wanted to arrest him. Arrest Krishna. Imagine, you want to arrest God. So Krishna said, well, hold on a minute. And he showed his partial universal form. And everybody was like, oh, wow. Everybody was shocked. What's happening? And Krishna said, well, you wanted to arrest me. And I'm not so easy to be arrested. And we know also Kalayavana, the Yavana king. He wanted to catch Krishna. And Krishna was standing before him. And Yavana wanted to catch him. And somehow Krishna was always one step ahead of him. One step ahead of him. One step ahead of him. And then Krishna was running for many kilometers. And he was just thinking, oh, he's right there, right there. You cannot catch Krishna. You cannot catch Krishna. It is an illusion to think that we can catch Krishna. Because Krishna performs, and it seems to be like an ordinary human being. But it's not. Sometimes we see in our International Society for Krishna Consciousness, it seems the things are as everybody else. What's the difference? But it's not the same. Like, for example, Bhishma died in a bed of arrows. It says that Bhishma could die whenever he wanted. He had this boon. So he could have laid there for 10,000 years and not die if he did not want to. But Krishna came and he said, oh, this is a good chance. Now I'll do it now. So it's not, things are not as they appear to be in this material world as far as connection to Krishna or everything connected to Krishna is. So we should, again, please never forget this. That when we think of Krishna and when we engage in Krishna service, this is not a normal, ordinary, daily activity. So Queen Kunti says in the end that although Krishna appears before the devotee in his original form, beauty of eternal bliss and knowledge, Sacinandana, the devotee is allowed to see the Supreme Lord face to face, although the Lord's beyond expression, our senses, and beyond our direct perception. So Krishna appears only due to his mercy, or due to his whim, you can say. He wants it, and that's it. There's nobody can say, oh, I chant so many rounds, and I did so much service, I want to see Krishna, like this gentleman. I want to see the Krishna. Not happening. Krishna will appear when he wants to. Sometimes Krishna appears, we don't really want to. There was this famous story by His Holiness Hanumat Prashak Swami. I heard it personally that he said this story, so he has to validate it if it's true. He said that there was once in California a farmer named John. Ordinary farmer. No spiritual, farmer. Just tractor. Once he was driving tractor, in the middle of the tractor drive in the field, one being came from the sky, and John was driving tractor. And the being came from the sky, and he said, John, find out more about me. And disappeared. And John was, okay. He didn't tell his name, he didn't tell anything. He just, find out more about me. So John, what did he do? He went to the library. At that time, library, no internet. This was the 70s, 80s. And then he went to the library and he asked the librarian, I want to find out about one person. He said, so he looks like this. So he was searching a little bit. And in the end, he found a Krishna book. And he looked and he said, that's him. That's him. He didn't know anything. He said, this is him. The tractor driver, John. So, and he said, it's Krishna, So then I think he came to the temple later. I don't know exactly what happened to his devotional life after this. But Krishna appeared to John. Why? We don't know. Krishna had this desire. So we should not be puffed up. I am serving so long. I am very dedicated. How is this new devotee or Bhakta John, tractor driver, can see Krishna, not me? It's possible because Krishna can show himself whomever he pleases. At the same time, he can also show himself to us if we are somehow, receive this mercy. So anyway, this is just some point I wanted to make. And as the last here point for today, there's different forms of the Lord, particularly in the temple, as we said today, that one who comes to the temple actually see the form of the Lord. This is not different than seeing the Lord in Vaikuntha. It's the same. So the more we're seeing the form of the Lord, the more we will be associating with the Lord. And devotees, they say devotees never imagine the form of the Lord. There's always the standard form of the Lord. Krishna plays the flute, Varahadev certain form, Nrsimhadev certain form. We cannot imagine now Nrsimhadev has whatever other form. Half fish, half lion. No, it's a half man, half lion. This is the form of Nrsimhadev. And these forms are described in the Shastras. And it said, according to the scriptures, the form of the Lord is depicted in precisely how do they look. It says, as already discussed, there's 8 kinds of representations of the original form of the Lord. This representation can be made out of clay. We see in Bengal during the Durga Puja, whatever, they make this form. But the deities can be made of clay, can be made of stone, the Nrsimhadev, and other deities made of marble. The deities can be made of wood. We have a Gonitai, made of wood, of neem. Then the deities can be made of paint. We have a paint just here behind me, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this actually, picture of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Chaitanya are not different, believe it or not. And therefore, you have in India, when you have a temple, you have circumambulation. What is it that? If you Parikrama Marg. And then behind there's always some pictures. There's some pictures of Krishna. And in the pictures, there's so many red color, because people touch the lotus feet of the deities. Because actually the pictures are not different from Krishna. Then, interesting enough, we have something which Dhruva Maharaj, or perhaps other, made a deity out of sand. You made a sand and draw the deity in the sand. Or sometimes when you go to Govardhan, you have these deities made of cow dung. Just, remember this. So, and this is not different from Krishna, not different from Govardhan. Then you have a deity made of jewels. This I've not seen it yet, but anybody knows the deity made of jewels. And in the end, is the deity is made in the mind. So this is a very powerful thing when we have a deity in our mind. And Madhavendra Puri, in the Krishna Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada gives this example of Madhavendra Puri who says, oh, my dear baths 3 times a day, my dear mantras, my dear rules and regulations, I bid you all farewell. Because from now on, wherever I sit, wherever I stand, I only think of youthful king of Nanda Maharaj, nothing else. So his mind has nothing else except Krishna, nothing else. So this is the very powerful thing to have a deity in your mind. Actually, there's a one deity in Mathura right now, and this is deity of Varahadev, a red Varahadev deity. And this deity is in Mathura. Nearby is also another deity of Varaha, the Shveta Varaha, but this is also different. But this deity is very famous deity because it is described the history of this deity. And this deity first appeared in the heavenly planets by Kashyapa Muni. Kashyapa Muni was meditating on the Lord, and from his mind, the Lord manifested this actual physical form of the deity. Imagine later on Ravana, when he conquered the heavenly planets, he took the deity down to Lanka, and when Ram conquered Ravana, brother of Ram, Shatrughna, took the deity and brought him to Ayodhya. And then later on, Lakshman took it to Ayodhya. And Shatrughna, later on, when he went to establish Mathura, a city, he brought this deity. So this was the first deity to be brought to Mathura. So it's a very famous deity, an important deity. But the point here is this deity appeared, the form appeared out of his mind. Imagine the power of this mind. Sometimes when we see the young devotees, when they chant their rounds, they walk here, they go downstairs, they come back, they sit a little bit, they sleep 10 seconds, they get up, they walk upstairs, then mind is like driving them around. Mind is a very powerful thing. We can do so many amazing things for the mind, in a bad sense. Amazing things for the mind. The mind wants this and that. And manifests. So when we go to somebody's room, and we see the room, we know exactly what kind of mind this person has. If it's mess everywhere, we think, okay, this is your mind. If everything is like clean, sterile, we know this person. We know usually, I was in, what's the name of this place? Trichur, in South India, in Kerala. And I visited one house of one person, and he showed me, they become rich now. So they built some very ugly building, three-story building, really ugly. And I said, what is this? House nearby. And he said, oh, this is our old house. I said, this is wonderful. What is this? And he said, this house is an old house built by his great-grandfather, and it's built according to the Vastu, like a Pakka Vastu, South Indian style, Brahminical family. So I said, well, I want to see. I don't, this is ugly, like yellow, big, concrete, So but then we went inside. Everything was built from natural materials. And second of all, everything is very geometric. The doors also, when you go to the door, doors are a little lower. So you have to kind of bend your head. It's not like, you have in Germany, these doors like 4 meters tall, this big, I am entering the Bundestag, This is humble. You have to actually kind of, so you have to bow down to enter, and everything is, but the most important to me was impressive. There was nothing in it. No furniture. Maybe there was one like small table. So he had this person was writing or something. He was staying in this house. And I said, this is it. This is it. This is the actual, as we call it, Vedic mind. Very pure, very organized, very clean, and not much clutter. Clutter means, junk stuff, which we think is very, very important. I recently, just last week, we went to, and there's this devotee was showing us different rooms, and I opened one room, and I was like, close it immediately. You don't know, alligator coming, you don't know what's going on inside of this room. So much stuff, if you put a box and you put some stuff and you shake it like this, and then this is what this room looked like. Oh my God, So mind, clean mind, and Krishna will actually appear in this mind. So at the end, we have 10 minutes, but which form should we choose? There's so many different forms, so many wonderful forms. When you think, wow, there's Varahadev, there's Nrsimhadev, wow, there's Kurma, there's a Parashuram, the man like Parashuram with arrows, with axe, This is great, Or they're like Krishna, or they're like Vasudeva Krishna with 4 arms, or mystic Krishna. What kind of Krishna? Nara Rishi, meditation in mountains, Himalayas. So which form to choose? Prabhupada says here, the word, this is the verse from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 5th canto, 18th chapter, 19th verse. Shukadeva Goswami said, The Supreme Lord Vishnu lives in Hiranmaya Varsha in the form of a tortoise, Kurma Rupa. This most dear and beautiful form is always worshipped there in devotional service by the chief residents of Hiranmaya Varsha, along with the other inhabitants of that land. So this is a description of this place where they worship Kurma Rupa, Kurma Avatar, the tortoise, Schildkröte. Prabhupada says, the word Priyatama in Sanskrit is meaning dearmost. Is very significant in this verse. Each devotee regards a particular form of the Lord as the most dear. So there is no, again, such a thing as this is better or this is. Each devotee thinks this is the most dear. And I, just to add this, I was looking at some verses from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And it's very, very interesting thing that Gopakumar went to Vaikuntha planets. He arrived in Vaikuntha planets and he saw these amazing personalities. Four-armed, shining personality. Everybody's worshipping, and he thought, this is Vishnu. And he bowed down. And this person said, no, I'm a devotee, actually. I just looked at like the Lord. I have Sarupya Mukti. We have 5 different muktis. 5 different types of liberation. Sarupya, Sarshti, Samipya, Salokya, and anybody? 5 different liberations. So Sarupya means you acquire the same body as the Lord. So they look like Vishnu, but they're not Vishnu. And all these people worshiping them, and Gopakumar in his naivety, he's a young boy from Govardhan's village. And he said, this is the Lord. And then another person, oh, this must be the Lord. And none of them were the Lord. They said, no, we are the devotees. And then he went further and he saw all kinds of different devotees assuming different forms, because in the spiritual body you can assume any form you want. Imagine, that's why spiritual liberation is ultimate freedom. We are not free now. I want to be something else. I don't want to wear glasses. For example, I have them here ready, but I don't want to wear glasses, but I have to. I'm limited. I don't want to have, I like to run, or I don't want to travel in the train 7 hours, but I have to. I'm limited. But in spiritual world, there's no limit. You can assume any form. You can do anything you want. Anything. Imagine. Every tree is a kalpavriksha tree. It's a wish-fulfilling tree. So you can just desire something and immediately fulfills. And then Gopakumar saw, interestingly enough, that some devotees taking the form of animals, birds, trees. Why would you take a form of a tree? Creepers or bushes. And grass. Some devotees take form of the grass. And insects and worms. So why would you take a body of an insect or a worm? So interesting enough, here's Sanatana Goswami, he explains, they worship this or similar form of Narayan during the material existence, because the Krishna appears not only in our human form and in this, what we know, Schildkröte, tortoise, or fish, Matsya avatar, but Krishna appears in every species, even as a worm. How does that look like? We don't know. Maybe in heavenly planets they have bigger Bhagavatam, as described. Or Krishna in the form of grass, the supreme grass, he's standing. I don't know. Or supreme rose bush, how did that, must be extraordinary rose bush, I don't know. But so Krishna appears in every species of life. And devotees worship him in this form as grass is worshipping grass, and they think he's the supreme grass. And by worshiping the supreme grass, they go to Vaikuntha planet. And they keep the form of a grass because they like it. So this is, I thought, another interesting point, that every devotee has unlimited choice to choose, from grass to bushes to anything. Then some devotees become hogs, like Varahadev. Some become half man, half lion. Some had 3 eyes. Some had 4 arms. Some had thousands of eyes, like Mahapurusha. Someone who worships Virat Rupa, they take the form of Virat Rupa themselves. This is amazing. This is like mind-boggling, because in Sanatana Goswami in the end said, nobody can explain the spiritual world to people who are living in the material world because it's unexplainable to the material with the material world, words. So also at the same time, the form of the Lord, we cannot understand. We can just appreciate and try to be, as Bhishma Deva, to do our unflinching devotional service, unchanging devotional service, and then hope that at the end of our lives, or before that, or today, or tonight, if we are fortunate, Krishna can appear in front of us and say, Haribol, how's it going? how's the rounds going? So, well, you know, I could do much better. So this is the final conclusion of the today. And atheists, they cannot understand this because they think they look the forms of the Lord, in these forms of the Lord from a materialistic perspective. But because devotees know that this is a spiritual form, in spiritual form everything is beautiful. So, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. This was it for today. Meditation on the form of the Lord. Tomorrow we'll be speaking more of Lord Kapila Dev's teaching and how one should actually, what kind of austerities or what kind of, as I said today, changes in our body and our mind and our behavior we have to do in order to come closer to Krishna. So Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jaya.